to be among people with technology and technical background. But I must admit, I'm not really a technical person. I'm a mechanical engineer with who accidentally happened in 1985 to enter what was at that time called information technology or IT, or I don't know how many of you know at that time IT was known as EDP. Have you heard of the term EDP? Okay, it is stood for electronic data processing, and there's no CTO or technology head. There were only EDP manager. Okay, right. And my first job was in Hindustan Computers. That's what's HCL now, trying to sell computers to EDP managers. Okay, right. And that is the time that was there. And at that time, very interestingly, IT or EDP or whatever you call it was looked at as a cost center, and the main job was to process salary and payroll, right? And if it's more glamorous and in more evolved companies, was to process the financial accounting. So if you're able to take out the trial balance and P&L of a company, the ledger accounts, you're an excellent EDP manager or you're an excellent technology person. And of course, if you can process the payroll and the pay slip comes out printed in printed form, computerized printed form, that was all the IT. I think a lot has changed in the last 30 years. Okay, right? I'm talking about 85, especially in the last 10 years in terms of technology. Going back to the question, I think I was fortunate, even though I'm not a technologist or a technical person, to get exposure to the at that time the IT industry or today's technology, what is called as technology. So what really has happened is phenomenal, and all of you here are fortunate to be involved in technology, because that if you look at most of the other industries, while they have stayed constant, the technology, IT, technology, mobile, internet has really taken a huge leap forward. From my perspective, I have seen that has given me or our companies or my startups excellent power to innovate, correct? Power to disrupt the status quo and launch new business models which use technology. I mean, even today, when you see newspaper, when you open the newspaper, front page, second page, you talk about valuation of companies, startups, whether it's Flipkart valued at $11 billion or it's Ola Cabs valued at $1 billion. You're all talking about how technology has been used to create new business model, to disrupt existing businesses.
So even though you don't call yourself a technologist, but you were very, very successful in terms of using technology, creating value around the business and technology models, and then selling them off.
Yeah, I think that is the biggest, from the point of view of a cost center with back office data processing to actually being in the front end to disrupt business models. I think that's where we have come from.
Disrupting business models, disrupting existing technology models, business models was something that you feel today really paid off.
Yeah, that has paid off, and I think the real opportunity and the excitement for everybody in this room is that it is just starting.
It's just starting.
The Internet of Things is still a new word. Okay, right?
Yeah.
Internet had been around for quite some time. Yeah. We had dial-up, then we came broadband, then we had 2G, 3G, 4G. Yeah. All of that moved it ahead. But what really has disrupted is the mobility.
The mobility.
Today, because
we'll come to mobility. Yeah. So just to again go back to Ganesh, the young, enthusiastic man full of zeal who's come to the industry, and he's now looking at creating startups and ventures. Tell us about your early experiences. 15 years back, for instance, how difficult was it to sell business ideas that were critically dependent on technology, especially IT?
Yeah, so 15 years back, it was extremely tough environment from the point of view of trying to develop a business case or explain the cost benefit advantage of technology. Like I said, technology is still was seen as an investment, cost center, depreciate the asset. It's almost like plant and machinery or equipment. People did not see it as a means to get, say, competitive business advantage. Use it for making business decision. So that was the singularly biggest challenge. Part of it is because it was not what we see as technology today. We didn't have Internet of Things, we didn't have the mobility. So it was more still desktops and servers, that was one. Two, Internet was clearly a dial-up Internet. Bandwidth was extremely limited. Connectivity was quite poor, okay, right? You didn't have, you had to rely on leased lines, or you had to rely on government-owned service provider to give you the internet. So all of it made it extremely difficult for a CTO or a technology person to convince the organization to adopt at mass scale technology, because they still, you have to beg for your budget, you have to request for budget, you will got a, that is one part of it. And two, from our own side, the technologist CTO side, they never saw it as a tool, they saw it as a service to be provided to assist the main business. They didn't see it as the business or the tool that can actually transform the business.
Okay,
right?
yeah. So
that is the biggest difference.
As a service, not as something which will really transform the business.
Yeah, it is not frontline. It is not a line function. It is a staff function. It is a more a service provision, almost like finance or accounts or administration.
Yeah. So one of the things that we keep hearing about is the rapid pace at which new technologies, new buzzwords, new and now disruptive technologies, which really make a big impact. We keep hearing about them so often now, and that really puts a lot of pressure on CIOs and IT leaders and even now CXOs in the organizations. So how does one really differentiate between temporary bubbles which are there for a while and then they will burst, and real game-changing long-lasting technologies, so that CIOs can be really more confident of the decisions that they are taking?
So, I mean, it's a very good question. It's very difficult to differentiate between a bubble and what is long-lasting till the time the event has passed. Okay, right? You really can't. So the straight answer question is, it's not easy to differentiate, but it's not such bad news. Okay, right? Because the cost of adopting, experimenting, and trying to test any of the technologies, that cost has come down drastically. Okay, right? Earlier, the entire concept of a mini computer, Unix, server, all of that was very different. You needed to, and once you have invested in it, okay, right? There is extreme pressure on CIOs or CTOs or EDP managers to provide the return on that investment. Okay, right? And heavens forbid, if that did not provide the returns, his job was at stake, and there is no way they could have gone to the management and got approval for changing the technology or for new technology. So it's an extremely tough thing, and you see a lot of stress there. But fortunately, what has happened because of hosted solution, and we heard about it when Tata, DoCoMo talked about it. Hosted solution, cloud-based solutions, okay, right? Which the SaaS applications allows you to start off with a very small, relatively much smaller fixed investment. Okay, it's variable investment. So today you can virtually get software, even applications or ERP on the cloud, take 4 licenses, start putting the data, trying to see that before going it. Earlier, ERP meant you had to have a server, you had to have data warehousing, you had to have ERP software, plus engage a ERP implementation. It was a few crore project. Okay, right? Today, it's a few lakh project, and you can pay license fee, you can pay per month. All of that is crunched. So that has really helped. So going back to your question, you don't have to answer whether it is a bubble or long-lasting. You can afford to try it out.
You can try it out. And the cost of trying it out
is much. Cost of trying it has gone down for you, which is a phenomenal advantage, because no longer do the CTOs or CEOs need to convince for a few crore budget. They can actually do it, show, and then go to the management and be able to do it.
So let me ask you a side question, if I may. So would you, for instance, social and mobility and Internet of Things, would you, this very informed gathering this evening, would you advise them to go and try out these new solutions, these new applications, technologies for their organizations?
No, absolutely. I think there is, firstly, they should try out, because from their progress, their career, and to be very blunt, their CV value, resume value, okay, right?
Oh, that's interesting.
People who adopt this, okay, right, is okay, right, it's become critical, okay, right? So
where is
value.
IoT in your CV?
Yeah, where is IoT in your CV? If you don't see IoT, you don't see all the buzzwords, okay, right? Then you have a challenge. That is one part of it. The second, there really is no choice.
There is no choice.
There is no choice, okay, right? One is, second thing, if you are not going to be, it's like saying if you don't know Excel, if you don't know Word, if you don't have an email account, you can't work without it, right? Today, you can't get a cab if you don't have an app in your mobile to be able to do it. Convenience, okay, right? The cab drivers can't speak English, okay, speak local language. They're not really, they are using the app to get your location, to come and pick you up and to do it, and they do that stuff. They may still not know internet. They may not have an email ID. Okay, right? But they are using the mobile app, whether it's Uber or Taxi for Sure or Ola Cabs or whichever. They are using that. Today, our delivery boys in BigBasket.com, which is an e-grocery company, use the pad for doing everything. Okay, right? They are the guys who are actually doing deliveries. Basically, a courier who is doing it. Our clinicians in Portia Medical, be it the doctor, be it the nurse, nursing attendant, or physiotherapist, use the smartphone and the app there to do everything. Okay, right? So, bottom line, even for non-technical people, right, it has become a table stake. Right?
So can you share some of the very tangible, clear benefits that you saw in your companies like Portia, or in your companies like the new groceries company that you have set up? Can you share some sort of insights from there in terms of what big radical changes it brought about in the business?
Yeah, sure. I mean, so Portia Medical is a home healthcare company. So we send home doctors, nurses, nursing attendants, and physiotherapists at home. So the idea is 70% of the time the patient need not move to the hospital or nursing home, can be serviced at home. So that's what we do. So it's basically nothing to do with technology. It's an age-old injection, diagnostics, medicine that's being done. So it's not glamorous technology stuff. But the whole thing runs on technology, right? So when a clinician goes, okay, right, they carry a smartphone. The patient has requested for an appointment at 3 p.m. The clinician goes. So look at the whole thing. We know that the patient, what is the GPS location of the patient because it's tagged. We know where the clinician is. We know whether at 3 p.m. the appointment can be done or not done. The server technology automatically sends a SMS to the patient saying that the clinician is arriving but will be late by 10 minutes. Mm-hmm. Okay, it's all done by technology. Nobody has to do anything, no phone call, nothing. The patient is fine, it's okay, but the patient doesn't have to wait at 3 o'clock wondering whether they're coming or not coming because an SMS and an email has come to the patient saying that it's coming. So that's one. Two, when the clinician goes there on the smartphone, okay, right, he has to start a visit by pressing a button. When he presses that, he has got the full patient history. He knows what is to be done, what is to be measured, because centrally we have fed that downloaded into the app. So the clinician cannot complete the visit unless he has taken the blood sugar or temperature and fed it in. Because when he is completed and is moving out of the location, our system knows that the clinician is moving out of the location, but the sugar level has not been updated. Okay, right? So the system automatically sends him a message saying that you have not done it, please go back and do it. So when he goes back and he has to finish, okay, right? Again, all that is using technology. We are using simple GPS, location, and downloading the thing. Take another example. The clinician is giving a medicine or an injection to the patient and he has to enter it before he can give it. The system tells that you cannot give it because it's contraindicated, the person has got an allergy. Because the patient data is there, it knows what, and the database that it is accessing on a real-time basis knows that X medicine, it cannot go with Y medicine and cannot be given. So, amount of the way you can use GPS, the mobile, the data, the database at the back end, and the patient information to avoid right from simple mistakes like wrong medicine being given, wrong dosage being given, to actual intimation of the logistics, all of that is fed into this. Now this would have been unthinkable 5 years back. I mean the whole concept
today it's happening.
Today it's happening. We do about 30,000 visits every month across 18 cities using 1,200 clinicians. That is possible because of the scale that technology gives you. I mean, same thing, look at Flipkart. I mean, forget the valuation for a minute. The number of orders they process in a day.
Does it also allow you to, for instance, have on your, not on your roles, but associated with you a much bigger number of clinicians and specialists just because of this technology? They can come in at any time, whenever time is available to them?
Yeah, so that's a very interesting point. Tutor Vista Global, which was my earlier company, which is now part of Pearson. We used to have 3,000 teachers working from home in India, working from the home across 120 different locations, teaching students in the US at home, live one-on-one on the internet tuition. Now imagine the kind of complexity. Every day we used to have 20,000 live sessions.
Yeah.
The only way it is possible is if you are able to use remote workforce teachers in India, remote students in the US working from home, and a single software platform that connects all of them on the internet so that you are able to do it. What it did was, it made us able to recruit PhDs, masters, because we gave them the option to work from home.
Yeah.
We had people in Tinsukia, we had people from Chandigarh, Ludhiana, Jalandhar, Mysore.
They can just log in and
Yes. So you have removed, technology has been used to remove the constraint of time, constraint of space. And very interestingly, the largest number of teachers were from Jamshedpur.
From Jamshedpur, okay.
Yeah, okay, right? Now the logic is very simple. Jamshedpur, how many of you know Jamshedpur? Have you been to Jamshedpur? You're familiar with Jamshedpur, right? Jamshedpur is an industrial city. You have one end Tata Steel, what was Tisco called earlier.
Yeah.
Other one Tata Motors, what was called Telco earlier. These are two large Tata houses, okay, right? Most of the people there employed are engineers, postgraduates, engineers, and all of that stuff. Their spouses typically are equally well qualified.
Yeah.
But it's an industrial city. Where would a MSc in mathematics or a PhD in
so many
physics?
Of them in
physics,
one city.
Yeah, in one city. Physics. Ladies who are there, they don't want to go and work in a call center. They don't want to go. There are only so many colleges or schools available. So they were sitting idle, highly qualified, but suddenly they get an opportunity to teach students in the US. Right? And the profile was such that. Similarly, areas where there were defense establishments, okay, right, like Vizag, for example, had a lot of defense officers whose wives were also highly qualified, who are looking for an ability to do a job. So that's what your social, mobile, and Internet of Things does. It removes the constraint of time and space and location to be able to give a service. The reason why I'm very excited for all the people here and for this particular sector, by 2025, 1/5 of the world's working population will be in India. Okay, right? Okay, right? So when the world wants any work or services to be done, they will have to come from India. And the only way you can do it from India,
if you are connected, and
if you are connected, your mobile and the bandwidth will improve. 4G will become 5G, will become 6G or 10G, whatever technology it becomes. Okay, right? With that, we'll have to be service like that. So that, I think, is an excitement. And people who are already in the technology field, exposed technology, have the biggest head start in capitalizing on this.
So what do you think will happen to those companies who are reluctant and apprehensive, and they are really not getting into areas like we just discussed, social or mobility? What's going to be the challenges for them? What's the future for such companies?
No, I think, see, fundamental needs of roti or kapda or makan, healthcare or education. These are the 5 core sectors. Those 5 fundamental needs will always be there. Okay, right? So you still have to eat. Okay, right? Food. Okay, right? 3 times a day you have to eat food. There is no choice. But the way food is made, the way food is marketed, the way food is delivered will change completely. We have seen that in retail. Look at how much of pressure is in retail. We have seen that in media, digital media, newspapers are facing so much of pressure because people are consuming content. The time it is produced on Facebook, on mobile, on this. I mean, so there is a huge amount of challenge. So you see newspapers shutting down, shrinking down, top magazines going out of business because people are becoming completely online. So there is huge amount of, so the same thing will happen with all the core sectors. Okay, right? While food will not go away, education will not go away, teachers will not go away, the way people learn and consume will be very different. The way you book tickets, airline tickets today, and already you started booking rail tickets today or bus tickets today, We'll go completely. How many times do we go to an actual airline office and actually get a printed ticket like the way they used to give it? Rarely ever. Even in the village, even in a small tier 2, tier 3 town, they go to, even if they don't know computer, they will go to a local computer center to print out the ticket, because that's the only way it's available. You can't get your jacketed tickets anymore if you want. So that has already happened. That has already happened in airline. The same thing will happen across every sector. The company will be there, but technology will be there everywhere, right from the way you get your customer, which will be social, on Facebook, on Twitter, on social media, the way you engage with the customer, the way you provide customer service. And it's happening in, you take Uber or Taxi for Sure or Ola Cabs, it's already happening here. In Big Basket, people are buying grocery. Grocery will not go away. But the way of buying, nobody is going to go and park the car in this particular traffic, stand in front of Nilgiri's work or Spencer's and actually wait in a queue to check out just to buy bread, food and vegetables. How many of you here have heard of Big Basket? Okay, almost everybody has heard of Big Basket. I hope most of them are using it also. Big Basket was not, it's a 2.5-year-old company. We started about 3 years back. It's a 3-year-old company. See how it has changed in 3 years. 10,000 orders a day we do, right?
Yeah.
And you'll see that accelerating across. So that's good news for all the people here. That the companies will not be able to survive unless and until they adopt and use technology, even for non-technology requirements, like a grocery or like.
See, one of the things is that many of these technology-based companies, which depend really quite a bit on connectivity. So what has been your experience? How do you think connectivity has really improved? And what is your opinion on the vision of the Indian telecom operators in terms of how do you think their connectivity and their services is really going to scale up? And do you think, you talked about from the dial-up lines to the 4G and 5G. So what do you think about their vision, the vision of the Indian operators?
No, I think obviously one of the best things that has happened to India and connectivity. I remember I was born and brought up in Delhi, and IT&T, my first business was in Delhi. When I left my job at HCL to start my first business, IT&T, I couldn't get a telephone line. Okay, right? The telephone line in the locality where I lived waiting list was 20 years. Okay, right? 20 years. This is center of Delhi. You know, okay, right? This is the center of Delhi. Or you have to be politician, you have to be connected and all of that stuff. Okay, so first 1.5 years of my company, I operated without telephone line. It will be unthinkable today if you can start a business and operate a consumer business. And how did the customers contact? I used to give a number of a shop, and that shop, they used to call up the shop. They will take the requirements, and I used to go every 2 hours to that shop to get the requirement, and then I will call from there. All of this for 1.5 years. From that time, because of the privatization, because of this, we have today, you can get instant connection. Obviously, mobile has leapfrogged so that you no more require landlines, you don't need copper, you need that. Same thing has happened on internet. Mobile internet has further accelerated the whole concept of internet, okay, right? And so I think it's phenomenal leap that has happened, and we have leapfrogged the physical landline connectivity to go into wireless mobile and cell phones and connectivity. So I think that has been the singularly biggest thing. From a telecom operators point of view, competition has helped in the consumer getting the best rates, best rate. Still, there are gaps in terms of internet connectivity. It fails, it does that, and you realize it when you go to a place like Mauritius or Dubai or US. The connectivity is perfect, but that's okay. We'll still get that. So there is there is more room to go. But most importantly, you can get real-time data. Mm-hmm. You can get real time. See, what mobile and connectivity has done is, I don't know how many of you realize, when you have a smartphone as compared to a mobile or a feature phone, it is not just the functionality. What has really changed? One, smartphone is always on. Right? You always carry it. You carry it when you're sleeping, it's next to you, you carry it and all the stuff. One. Two, it is GPS enabled, so people know where the location is. And three, the frequency of usage on a smartphone because of the app, because of the app is completely phenomenal. All the three has catapulted this. And I think the telecom operators have played a very, very key role. Of course, I'm hoping that some of the noises you hear about people want to charge for voice